Hey, Larken Rose here, and I'm a credible source because I'm sitting in front of the White House. It's not a green screen. Believe me. Obviously, it's a green screen. I just happened to have this set up and I didn't want to switch it to make this video. I'm going to try to make this video short and calm. Two things I'm not exactly known for, but here goes. Because I'm looking at a bunch of people who, whether they were libertarian or conservative or whatever, to one degree or another, they fell for the Trump sales pitch. And they thought, well, maybe he'll do some good, even if they recognized, well, he's kind of an authoritarian in his status in a bunch of ways. But compared to that, the comparison game that I talk about all the time, we think maybe he's better. Okay. But I wanted to bring up the issue of people doing the cult of personality routine, even if it's sort of a mild, watered-down version of that where, well, we don't totally worship him. We just think maybe he's going to, as soon as you rah for a personality, and Trump is a personality, there's not a shred of principle anywhere in there. He's a personality. He's a freaking cartoon character. And that's just undeniable. Even his supporters have to recognize you went rah for a personality because he's really owning the libs by the way he talks and the way he does this and the way he does that. Nobody, and I mean nobody, supported him because of principles, because Trump doesn't have any. He has contradicted himself on literally every issue there is. I so believe in freedom of speech. I could go down the list. That would make this video too long. He just posted a thing that basically wants to violently crack down on illegal protests. Oh no, that was just, we're going to withhold funding from schools that allow illegal protests. Okay, what does that mean? Protests you don't like? People saying mean things about the ruling class of Israel? So, First Amendment out the window. He also thinks people should be either kicked out of the country or caged for a year for burning the American flag. So it doesn't give a crap about the First Amendment. Doesn't give a crap about the Second Amendment. He's on record in a book saying he supported the assault weapons ban. He was all for the red flag laws. Take guns first, go through due process second. So he's no fan of the Second Amendment. Doesn't give a crap about the Fourth Amendment or the Fifth Amendment. I mean, you can go down the list. It's obvious. It doesn't give a shit about the Ninth and 10th Amendments, which means he doesn't care about the Constitution like everyone else in Congress, left and right. None of them limit what they support to things that the Constitution actually authorizes the feds to do, which, as you know, I think even that tiny amount authorized by the Constitution is bogus and illegitimate, and that's why the Constitution is bullshit, because it's true pro-authoritarian, and absolutely nobody in Congress limits having the feds do things just to the things in the Constitution. Ron Paul tried for a long time, which is why he was Dr. No. He just voted against everything. So, Trump has no principles. That is not debatable. He doesn't even try to put things in the context of philosophical anything. Make America great again. That's not an anything. That's not a principle. That's not a philosophy. That's just nationalistic propaganda. Yay for our club. Okay, that's not a principle. Like when the Nazis said that, yay for our fatherland. Or yay for Mao, yay, like that isn't anything. That's not a principle. That's not pro-freedom. That's just pack mentality. Even that's not a principle. But when a lot of people get hopeful that some political savior or even just some talking head is going to make a difference, as soon as they shift from the principles to the personality, as soon as they shift from the ideas to the people, they're doomed. Because you just, and this absolutely applies to me. And a lot of people do this, they say, oh, check out Larken Rose's stuff. I really like what he has to say. I really like what he has to say. In other words, I express ideas and they agree with them and they say, I like those ideas. If tomorrow I said, let's all vote communist, hopefully every single one of my supporters would say, ugh, Well, Larkin lost his marbles or sold out or something. Heck with him. Because it's the ideas, not the me, that they actually support. They may like the way I phrase stuff or like the, script of the Jones Plantation or the books I wrote or whatever. But all of that is because of the ideas in them. None of that is because my personality and because I'm going to go out there and be the cartoon character playing savior. Like, I don't want to be your savior. I want to run my own stinking life. But I think these ideas are really important, so I spend a lot of my time and effort talking about them and expressing them in movies and books and everything under the sun. But nobody is looking to Larken Rose to save the day. And if anybody does, I tell them, what the hell is wrong with you? You're not even paying attention to what I say. If you think I'm going to save the day, me as a person, then you understood nothing I've said. And right now you have a bunch of people that were hoping Trump was going to save the day. Trump, the person, the character, the personality. They were hoping he was going to go in and save the day. The fact that all over the place, like, how do you recognize a Trumpster? They have the name Trump on everything. Just look at that. I mean, you see it everywhere, but most people never think about it. How weird is it? Let's say you're an alien, you come to Earth, and you're driving around. Wow, all these people have like bumper stickers and signs and everything that say the word Trump. What does that mean? It's the name of a guy. Okay, what does he believe? What is he about? Well, the signs don't say. The bumper stickers don't say. They just say the name of their savior. If someone drove around with and I know people who say, Google Larken Rose and voluntarism and things like that. Every once in a while, I'll see my name on something like that. Or I'll see a quote of mine and my name at the end, or a quote of mine without my name at the end, and I don't care because the idea is still there. But it would feel so weird to me if people just had my name. What do you believe? This guy's name. And yet you have all these Trump supporters. And I mean, they did the same thing with Obama. Obama, yes, we can. What the hell does that mean? Absolutely nothing. But we had this big name, Obama, because he's our savior. Just that mentality, regardless of the person, regardless of the individual, regardless of what they think they're going to do, regardless of what they believe, already shows that you've made yourself like mentally subservient to somebody else, and that's pathetic. All the people who have the big Trump signs, that's pathetic. And the fact that a bunch of them try to act like, well, I thought I wasn't going to get riled up. Well, a little bit riled up. They think we're so tough and rugged and we're the rebellious badasses and we're all kissing the ass of this one cartoon character who we think is going to save us, which he's not. And now a lot of them are learning, oh, he's not. They didn't release the Epstein files. They don't believe in this. He's talking about taking over Gaza. He posted that completely creepy video. They didn't make the video, but Trump then posted it on Twitter, this Trump Gaza thing. If you haven't seen it, I don't know whether to say go see it or don't see it for your own mental health. It's creepy as hell. Sarcasm with a heavy dose of genocidal undertones. Just, ugh. So slowly but surely, a bunch of people are realizing, yeah, maybe he's not all he's cracked up to be. Why did you choose a person instead of an idea? Because when I talk, or when anybody talks about voluntarism or self-ownership, if, tomorrow we found out that Larken Rose is a serial killer and murders and eats his neighbors or something, you wouldn't have to give up your ideas. You wouldn't have like invested part of your soul in me as the individual person like I was your savior. You could still say, well, he said true things. Turned out he was a creepy psychopath serial killer or whatever. And by the way, that's happened with a bunch of people. Well, not full-fledged serial killer, but there have been a number of people in the movement who have said lots of good things, and it turned out they were not swell people, let's just say. They were total creeps. They still said true things. Those true things still spread. A bunch of people actually learned true things from people are kind of psychopathic. Because they weren't talking psychopathic, they were expressing ideas that they didn't come up with, and but they're repeating them, and it spread the ideas. And if you find that out, you don't have to abandon the ideas. Like, I mean, you're not going to find out I'm a serial killer, because I'm not. But if you found out some random person who says good ideas, oh, they did something horrible we don't like, well, you don't have to ban the ideas. You can say, well, those things are true, and that was screwed up. If somebody says 2 + 2 is 4, and then they go kick a puppy, 2 + 2 is still 4. And it's not okay to kick puppies. Like, it's not a difficult distinction to make, but as soon as somebody invests in a personality, in a character, in a Trump, then you see what you're seeing from a bunch of Trumpites right now, which is them making excuses for just heinous, insane crap that they know is insane. But they're like, well, at least he's not Biden. You can't even say, well, that's evil. Like, that guy did something heinous. You have to point to somebody who's not in power anymore? Why can't you just say, that's really bad? Like, if you found out I'm a serial killer, I hope every single one of you would be able to say, that's really bad. I hope somebody kills him or something, or stops him somehow. I hope none of you would make excuses for me, and I'm pretty sure none of you would. Because, from what I can tell, pretty much all of my followers, I hate that even term, follow me, I will lead you to salvation, just like the ideas, many of which I'm just expressing. They've been around for hundreds of years. I'm not pretending that I am the one who came up with the wisdom to save the world. Like, I try to package it and explain it in a way that makes it really easy for lots of people. There have been people talking about this stuff forever. Albert J. Nock and Frederick Bastiat and Voltaire to some extent. It goes back for like millennia. And I just try to explain the ideas in a way that hopefully can get to as many people as possible. That's my sort of self-appointed mission in life. But don't bet anything on me, the person. Why would anyone think that's a good idea to do to anybody? And yet all these people with a big Trump sign. He's our savior. What does that say about your mentality when you think another man is your path to salvation? That's pathetic. That is slave think. And, I mean, that's all politics ever is. He's our new savior. Obama will save us. Clinton will save us. Bush will save us. Reagan will save us. Trump will save us. And all the posters with some person's name on it. Hillary will save. Kamala will save us. And all of them are creepy, corrupt sellouts to one degree or another. Well, this one isn't quite as bad as, instead of arguing whether somebody else is worshiping a slightly worse personality than the personality you worship, how about you stop worshiping personalities and start getting some principles and stop making an ass of yourself and stop enabling evil because you don't have the mental fortitude to think for yourself and say, here's what I believe, no matter what anybody else says, and I don't need some savior speaking on my behalf. Maybe somebody else does a good job of expressing the ideas that I believe, but I'm not making myself subservient to them. If tomorrow they say something I disagree with, I'll disagree with it. Because I'm not their pathetic little follower. I'm a person who owns himself and thinks things and has ideas. And so I'm not going to put the name of a human being on signs all over my property to show that I think this individual, mere mortal human being is going to save me. That is a pathetic mindset. Even if it was actually a smart person trying to do good stuff, it's pathetic. If a smart person does good stuff, focus on the things to do, the ideas, the concepts, the philosophy, not the individual savior. And that's true in every case. I'm not going to pretend to know that much about the thing going on down in Argentina with Milei. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Milei. He calls himself an anarcho-capitalist. He's now the president down there. He immediately did some things which made me go, wait a minute. Some of that didn't sound anarchist to me, but okay, some of it sounds good. And people said, what do you think about it? What do you think about it? And I said, I haven't researched him enough to know. And at the end of the day, I don't care. He's a human being. What I do care about is what the people believe. And one of the most encouraging things, I had a chat with a woman at Anarchapulco. Sorry, I suck at remembering names. And having been down there, she says a bunch of young people are now talking about the ideas of anarcho-capitalism and freedom and these actual concepts. It's become part of the discussion. And I said, that matters 1,000 times more than that one guy does. No matter what he does, no matter how honest or dishonest he is, no matter what he accomplishes or doesn't accomplish, what the people believe is the thing that matters. And that's why you haven't seen me waving the flag for Malay, however you say his name. And now he's like, he did a little bit of butt kissing of Trump. I don't know what's going on. Like, he may be doing a bunch of good stuff too. Good stuff, relative comparison, good stuff. But worshiping him isn't going to save the day either. It's what the people believe. It's the ideas in people's heads. Trump is not an idea. He's not even a bad idea. He's not in anything. He's a cartoon character with zero principles playing this stupid game, and people are rooting for him and other people are rooting him against him, and none of them recognize that entire show, that entire game show doesn't stinking matter. It's what the people believe that matter, and that's why the biggest disappointment is to watch people who should know better, who call themselves anarchists and libertarians, jumping on the Trump bandwagon. Instead of talking about ideas and principles and concepts, I'm going to throw my support behind this guy. He's just a guy, and he's trying to get power over you. And you thought, well, maybe on a practical basis, the outcome will be slightly less horrible than if that guy sits on the throne. You've already moved everything you're saying outside the realm of anything that matters at all. Now you're talking about a professional wrestling match that's coming up. It doesn't matter. What matters is what people believe. And that's why everything you see me do is focused on the ideas and the principles and spreading them to other people and helping normal people understand them. Not saying you all must defer to my wisdom. Just tell everybody Larken Rose is going to save the day. No, I'm not. The concepts of self-ownership and voluntarism, non-aggression, whatever phrases you want to use for it, the concept of actual freedom is what's going to save the day. And it doesn't matter who does or doesn't say it. It matters how many people understand it and live by it. And that has absolutely nothing to do with the cult of personality bullshit, with the whole political game. That is completely separate, and that's why it's so frustrating to watch people who should know better falling back into the trap of paying attention to this stupid, pointless, completely unprincipled drama. And that's what everybody supporting Trump is doing. It's what everybody supporting Biden did. It's what everybody supporting Obama and Clinton and Bush and Reagan and George Washington and everybody in between. All of you are focusing on a show that doesn't matter. And that show exists to try to get your focus on something that doesn't matter. And to watch that trick work on people who should know better is pathetic. And people say, well, what's your solution? The solution is really easy to say and frustratingly difficult to get humanity to recognize. The solution is getting enough people to disobey and resist anybody who claims to have the right to rule them, regardless of their name and their party and elections and constitutions and all that bullshit. It's to get people to understand that they own themselves and then act like it. And when enough people do that, there is no empire in the world that can survive. There is no regime that has ever existed or will ever exist that can forcibly dominate humanity when enough people recognize we are free, we do own ourselves, and all the show and all the game and all the BS status garbage we're taught, it's all just designed to have us not recognize a very simple, basic, fundamental aspect of truth and morality and humanity. Yeah, if you have some person's name emblazoned on your shirt or your hat or your car or your bumper sticker or a poster out front, you're still making yourself subservient to another human being. And that's still always going to be pathetic. You own yourself. Act like it.